What's cracking, everybody? Zerfel Rose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Badly content. In today's video, we're running a really awesome double water team featuring Galarian Weezing on the lead with Brutal Swing and Overheat with that new Fairy Wind Fast move we got last season. And new Surf Jellicent, which you guys saw featured on the channel last week as a safe swap, and I'm at it again. Things really good. I love it. It's a new favorite of mine. And this team comes from one of my patrons, supporters, Lost Heart 85. So thank you so much for the team submission, dude. I had a decent day with this team. And then here's the battles that came with it. So let's get straight into these battles here and see how strong this team can be. So we've got a Cresselia lead. So as long as this thing's not running Future Sight, I'm in a good spot. And you know what? It's probably got Future Sight. I'm what is with you? I'm just very angry. He's very angry. I'm very good at finding the people who have that one thing that I just don't want to see when it's not normally the move set that people run. So this person is going to go ahead and throw a charge. I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I'm just going to assume they have Moonblast, Grass Knot. They throw the Moonblast, which is good. And then they're going to go for another charge. I'm like, all right, well, they threw Moonblast. There's no reason for them to throw Future Sight. So then they throw Future Sight. So you know what? This sucks. So now I got to figure out how to do this. All right, you're getting down. You're being a butthead. Come on, go watch TV. So I bring in my Swampert here because I know that I can get to a Hydro Cannon before they can get to another charge move because they're running Future Sight, Moonblast, and my opponent comes in with a Swampert Mirror, and I'm gonna throw a Hydro Cannon here. Kind of wish I'd just thrown the Earthquake, but it's all right. I'm immediately gonna go into my Jellicent, and I get countered with an Obstagoon. This is just a great battle so far. Stay tuned, it's not a loss. Night Slash is going to come through, and I'm just going to continue to throw Surfs here. This is why I love Jellicent so much, because it's got the Surf Hex treatment. Now, it can fire off Surfs very quickly, and it's just such a strong, safe swap because of the ability to do that stab, spammy damage, or hit hard with a Shadow Ball in some matchups. So, the bulk, too, just makes it really strong. Can honestly live more than a couple of dark type charge moves like Dark Pulse. It can tank one plus the bunch of fast moves from like something like Alolan Muck. Non-shadow Dravion, it can actually tank 2 crunches if it doesn't get a defense drop. But anyway, I actually swap out here to clear the debuffs off both myself and the Obstagoon. Gonna no shield, or I'm gonna shield this up here actually. I'm looking to try and make some magic happen. I know the Swampert has a ton of energy, and I know they're about to throw it, but this is not enough to be an Earthquake, I don't think. But I'm going to hedge my bets and say that it's probably just a Hydro Cannon. And then we're going to throw our own Hydro Cannon here to try and take out this Swampert. I'm assuming they probably let it go, try to farm down with Goon to get some energy, and I'm not going to be able to get to a move. But fortunately, this is the reason that I'm able to win. My opponent, not being able to keep track of my own energy, decides to throw their own, and I know that I do live a night. I don't know if I know the Night Slash here actually, but I shielded up, and I just need to get the 2 Surfs. My opponent allows me to get the 2 Surfs because they threw that energy. So thankfully, yes, it was my opponent who made the slight mistake there, but I was able to capitalize on it and take a game win when it would have probably been a loss, to be honest, if my opponent had been counting energy. But again, just like me though, I lost count of their energy, so it's all fair, right? This is going to be probably a little bit of a longer vid. You guys probably saw it's probably like 25, almost 30. I don't know how long it is. I sped the clip up. Hopefully it's going to stay nice and, you know, not so bad. But get an Ampharos lead here. Again, something that I kind of get core broken by. Having Jellicent in the back really makes Ampharos difficult for my teams that run, you know, something neutral to it in the lead with, you know, anything in the back. So I'm basically going to stay in here, and I'm going to go for a couple of Brutal Swings. I'm hoping to fish a shield off the opponent, honestly, before anything else, but they do shield that up, so I'm going to actually look to try and catch the Thunder Punch on my Swampert, but my opponent doesn't fall for it, but they come in with an Articuno, which I haven't seen one of these in a long time, which is pretty neat. And they decide to shield the first move, which basically tells me that they're about to go for Icy Wind, but I test the waters on CMP, and I actually find out that Swampert wins CMP, so I'm able to get this Hydro Cannon off before they debuff me, which is really nice. So I do know that the counts for Icy Wind, 5-4, so I need to be able to get this Hydro Cannon off before they get to another Icy Wind, but I miscount. Yep, I don't know why I thought it was 5-5-4, but it's 5-4. Gosh darn it, Zerfel Rose of the past. Why are you such an idiot? Anyway, gonna throw these Hydro Cannons. I'm gonna bank one for later. Come in with a Jellicent because I know my opponent's not gonna be able to get to not going to be able to get to another Icy Wind before I get to... I don't know. I mean, why would they throw an Icy Wind into a Jellicent, right? So, I'm drawing out their Ampharos here. Kind of hoping that I'm going to be able to go for a couple Surfs, shield up one move, tank another, and then they just let it go here because they don't have any shields left, which is good. And now they're going to have a Togekiss in the back, which is kind of scary, not going to lie. I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball, hardest hitting move, no shields left, no point not to. And then I'm going to hopefully be able to get to another Shadow Ball here. But now these Charms are ripping through my Jellicent, so I'm going to go for the Surf here. Because that's all I can get to. And I do have the Hydro Cannon loaded on my Swampert, which means that I'll be able to just pop in with my Swampert and go for it. My opponent does concede the match. Well played to them. Good game. In the next game, we're going to have a Cofagrigus. I got to say it right. Dang it, Home Slice Henry, you got me again. Doing your weird way of pronouncing Cofagrigus. Cofagrigus is going to stay in here against my Weezing. And at this point, I'm thinking there's a chance that they may have Psychic. Excuse me. But I'm shielding this up even if it's not. Just because a Shadow Ball would hurt. But there is a Psychic. I'm expecting my opponent to potentially swap at this point. So I overfarm and they've got Tapu Fini. I overfarm by just a little bit. Don't have any play roughs to throw at the opponent. So I'm going to come with my Jellicent, which is my quote-unquote hard counter. And I have to eat a Moonblast here. I don't have a choice. So that sucks. Thankfully, there's no attack drop, though, so I'm going to be able to get to these Shadow Balls. You should be able to get to 2 Shadow Balls pretty easily before they get to another Moonblast here. It's up to them if they want to shield them, however. There is a case to be made here for also baiting. I know that this is a Surf because they threw way too early, and I know I live a Surf. Surf doesn't hurt much. But what this now does is it allows me to get to a Surf bait, and then I can go for the Shadow Ball or farm down if they let it go, which they do, and I leave with a Shadow Ball loaded to hit the Cofagrigus with, or they can shield it up. Up to them, doesn't matter to me. And they're going to tank it, and there's a Skuntank in the back. And guess what, fam? I got a loaded Weezing. I'm going to let the Overheat loose, and then I'm going to come in with Shadow Swampert. Look to do what I can with Shadow Swampert. Now, I do have to keep in mind, though, that this is a Shadow Skunk, I think. Oh, is that regular Skunk? I can't tell. I don't know. It's these shadows sometimes are just too much to the screen. So I'm going to go for the Earthquake. I'm going to get the guaranteed shield or the damage and let it go. Because I know... Okay, yeah, it's a regular Skunk. Because I know I can live a Crunch here. And then I'm going to just either go for Earthquake. They throw the energy. Whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I will shield this, though, just because at this point I know I can get to a move before they get to a Crunch. And I can get to the Earthquake and cleanly KO the Skuntank. And my opponent decides to concede at that point. Well played. Good game. And off to the next one. We've got a Weezing against a Stunfisk. Now, the important thing to note here is that it takes 7 Fairy Winds to get to the Overheat, and it takes 8 to get to the Mud Shot. So I can safely go for an Overheat, and then dip immediately into Jellicent to either catch the Earthquake, or force them to switch out. And I got a shield off of them as well. So, now my opponent has immediately thrown the move, and that is going to allow me to soak this Earthquake because I have no intentions of shielding it. And then they're going to come in with a Giratina. Now, the thing with Jellicent Safe Swap is oftentimes the opponent, if they don't have a direct answer to a Ghost, will come in with like a Ghost themselves. And that's what makes Jellicent such a strong safe swap, is because it gets those Shadow Balls very quickly. Something like Giratina hits like a wet noodle for the most part. You're not really going to have to worry about it. And my opponent actually is going to be able to farm down here, though, unfortunately, before I get to another Shadow Ball. But because I've got Weezing, it means I can go for these brutal swings. I can Fairy Wind a bunch of energy. They have to go for Shadow Sneak, which, for those who don't know, there are a lot of you out there, because I've played, especially when I was playing in Fantasy Cup, Shadow Sneak and Dragon Claw do the same damage. Shadow Sneak is a little bit more energy, so please just remember that while you're playing your games. I am going to be able to go for the Brutal Swing here. My opponent is going to bring in the Stunfisk, and I do remember that they have a couple of Mud Shots, so I am going to have to swap. I can't go for an Overheat here. My opponent just throws, and I'm like, this is probably an Earthquake. I'm not going to screw around. They go for Rock Slide. Like, okay, I'll farm up a little bit extra, you know, since they need another 5. Do not touch that button, you. Since they should need another 5 to get up to the Earthquake, but they throw it 4, and I'm like, I'm going to call that this is a Rock Slide, because they didn't have that much energy, and thankfully it's just a Rock Slide. So now I have a ton of extra energy, and I leave with it, and I'm going to be able to go for the... I'm going to go for the Hydro Cannon into the G-Fist, take it out. Going to shield the Dragon Claw. I'm having a bad time right now, because they come in with a Crest, and I'm like, oh boy. I just got clapped with a Future Sight Crest a few games ago. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. Try to catch the Grass Knot here. Unfortunately, they hang on to their energy. Unfortunately for me, good call on their part. Maggie, stay away from there. Hey! Would you quit being a booty head? What are you eating? Get that out of your mouth. Get that out of your mouth. What do you think this is, a buffet? We don't need pieces of carpet, young lady. Ah. Fellow parents out there, you know the struggle all too well. Opponent concedes the match. I have no idea what happened, but you saw it happen. Lapras lead. Oh, God. Okay. So this is awkward because my Swampert doesn't really have a great matchup here. Lapras is very bulky, so I'm going to go for an Overheat. Try and chip the Lapras. Go ahead and Jellicent. See what happens. Completely playing this one by ear. I have no plan here. I'm just doing what I can with what I got. She's over there being cute. And I've destroyed the cute piece. Now you're just angry. Alright. I'm looking to try and win switch here. I do need to keep that crest way far away from my Swampert, so I do shield up the first move. And I'm really kind of hoping here that I might be able to get to another Shadow Ball before they can get to another Shadow Sneak. So, I'm going to fire off the Shadow Ball, see what happens. Opponent is going to shield this up as well. But that does not mean I can get to the move, but it does mean they didn't have enough to get to that. I don't think they got for Dragon Claw there. I'm sure they had enough for a Dragon Claw. I think maybe they were going for the farm down, but unfortunately for me, they do get that farm down. Ooh. Okay. So they're gonna come in, or I'm gonna come with my Weezing here, get the farm down, and now they have no shields. I am going to go for another Overheat and try and take out this Lapras and hopefully give my Swampert free reign with whatever's in the back. But my opponent gets to another Surf before I can get to the Overheat. Fortunately for me, I still have a shield, and I'm going to try and farm a little bit extra energy because I know that was probably all the energy they had. And after 4 Fairy Winds, that's the proper optimal timing into the 3-turn Ice Shard. Gonna fire off the Overheat, take him out, and there's a Toxicroak waiting to be demolished by an Earthquake. And this is a good game. Well played to my opponent. RPS sucks, and I don't know how I was able to get around. That was just a tricky lead. It was just, you know, it was one of those situations where it's like, thankfully they have this in the back, because otherwise I was screwed. So, there it is, and we're going to get the button. Takes out Toxicroak, and that's going to be a good game. In the next game, we've got a Jellicent lead. Now, I've seen quite a few of these, and I think that Weezing is a really nice lead here, so we're going to go Brutal Swing with good timing. That means I'm going to have to go right before they get to 5. That's going to be their Shadow Ball. We're going to fire off a Brutal Swing here, and then I'm going to have to let them throw a move, and I'm going to have to try and call. But I do decide with kind of not so great timing here. But I try to CMP. They go for 2 extra. This is a risky move for sure on my part. They very may well have been able to go for, like, you know, a Shadow Ball right away, or anyway, whatever. So, I'm going to go for good timing here again with 4 Fairy Winds, throw the Brutal Swing, try and take this Jellicent out of the game, but they do shield, which means to me that they're probably core broken by Weezing, so I'm going to swap into my Jellicent, shield a potential Shadow Ball, and then I'm going to try and farm down or force them to swap out, and they have a Gliscor in the back, which is great. I wish I was running Ice Beam right now. That's the one bad thing about Surf, is like when Gliscor comes in, man, I wish I had Ice Beam for this. But anyway, Night Slash is not going to get a shield for me. I am going to overfarm a little bit here before they throw that Night Slash, and then just be able to put myself in a position where I can throw, you know, 1 and then go. Now, because I just saw how much damage that Night Slash did, not going to do enough damage to take out my Jellicent, so I can safely no shield because they didn't get a boost. Farm down, and the opponent decides just to quit. Don't know what they had in the back, but apparently didn't like my Pokemon, so well played to them, though. Even still. Swampert, this is a very tricky lead. This actually sucks really bad, and then they counter me with an Obstagoon, and I'm just like, alright, this is not good. So, I'm gonna do whatever I can here. Again, I'm up against the wall here, not really having a good, you know, good situation. I'm getting kind of our... Ma'am, that is loud. Would you like me to help you? Got a toy box right next to this thing. I hope that wasn't too loud anyway. So anyway, no, she's not looking for anything. She's just emptying the whole thing out. Just there go the toys. They're all gone. Since nobody really cares about that, here have a vision of a child as she throws out the entire box of toys. Here for you Genshin Impact nerds. Yes, that was an Ito mouse pad, courtesy of my wife, because I need wrist support.
What?
She has good taste in mouse pads.
What did you do?
You have good taste in mouse pads.
Okay, what?
Ito showed up on the camera, so I feel like I have to explain it before people question my sanity.
Hey, look, if you don't like Ito, there's something wrong with you.
That's all right. I agree. Ito's pretty... Yeah, I love Ito. He's really cool.
Ito and Rex.
I don't play the game anymore, but I did really enjoy it. Oh, yeah. Oh. Rex Lapis's voice made me melt. I am a straight white male, and his voice made me melt.
That's because you're a normal straight white male who's accepting of everyone and everything. Especially your freaking over flamboyant bisexual wife.
You're darn right. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Love you, honey.
That was cool.
Alright. Now we're going to watch me get thrashed by the Swampert as I no-shield this Hydro Cannon. And now that we're finally out of that terrible matchup of the Goon and the Jellicent, my opponent comes in with the Galarian Zapdos, and I'm just like, alright, I got nothing, dude. I'm out. I'm done. This is it. That's it, man. I'm done. They counter down before I can even get to a move, and I'm just like, you know, man, you got this. Congratulations. You win the match. Good game. Well played. I'm out. Let's go to the next one with a Jellicent lead yet again. I'm going to play this out the same way. Whether my opponent decides to shield or not, I don't know, but they do stay in to find out my moveset. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. I hate when I yawn on videos, but I'm just so tired. It's like 11 o'clock when I record these videos, alright? So, give me a break, man. No sleepy Felrose. You know why I'm sleepy? The reason's walking around behind me. Anyway. So my opponent comes in with a Nidoqueen, and I overfarm by a touch too much, and they go for an Earth Power, and they basically get free stuff. So I'm going to go for the Hydro Cannon. From my own experience playing Nidoqueen, I know that this just about KOs, and if they decide not to shield it, then it's good for me, but they don't shield it. They're like, you know, I've been hard countered. There's no reason to shield this. And then they're going to come in here with their Jellicent, I do believe, and I will get their shield with the Earthquake and be able to get to a Hydro Cannon. I was trying to go for that Earthquake, but unfortunately wasn't quite able to get there. Proper gameplay would have been for me to throw the Hydro Cannon and then go for the Earthquake, but whatever. So this Brutal Swing is going to come in as soon as I come in. Thankfully, I didn't get that one-turn lag. And my opponent now is going to go for a move. I assume they're going to go for a Shadow Ball here. There's no reason for them not to, but they go for Surf. I'm like, okay, I guess. And I'm like, oh, goodness. I just screwed that up. So they go for the Shadow Ball. Well done to my opponent here going for that. And then they come with Scrafty, and I'm just like, oh goodness. All right. If only I had Play Rough. Go for the Overheat. Hits the Scrafty, but thankfully from the many times that I've played this matchup, I know that the opponent will need 2 foul plays and a bunch of chip damage from the counters, or a 3rd foul play to take me out. Plenty of time for me to get a couple Surfs off. Thankfully, that's going to be more than enough to take out the Scrafty before they even get to the amount of damage needed. But at this point, what I can actually do is, because they're so low and they have to get to a foul play, never mind, they didn't get a foul play. I'm going to farm down here. My point was I was either going to go for the full farm down on the Scrafty with the Jellicent, or I was going to get it with I can't speak. I was going to get it with the Weezing, and then we were going to go for a Brutal Swing and take him out. So this is a rough one right here. If they aren't running an absolute hard counter in the back to my Waters, I'm screwed. But thankfully, it looks like my opponent stays in a while, gets the energy on the Charizard loaded, and then comes in late with the Goon. Now, if I remember this game correctly, this is terrible. I'm pretty sure this game was so badly. My opponent is going to go for a Night Slash, and okay, it's not the same game. I'm thinking this. There's a game where my opponent's Goon got 2 attack boosts, and they got like 2 obstructs off and came out and just destroyed my whole face. Even though Weezing is a Fairy Poison type, that was not fun. But no, thankfully, because my opponent took so long to come in, they're in range now for me to take shields and actually potentially take Switch here. Because I'm counting their moves here, I think that I should be able to get to the Surfs needed to take this actual Switch, and they let it go. Because I think they realized maybe they weren't going to win Switch. But anyway, me winning Switch there is huge. And I'm able to get to a Surf against the Charizard before going down to wing attack damage, which is also absolutely massive. Gonna be able to get a shield off the Charizard and also now align my Swampert to the Charizard. My opponent doesn't bother throwing energy, which is a huge relief to me, because I was like, man, if they throw Blast Burn and then swap, I'm gonna have a problem. So opponent is going to bring in their Wall Rain here. And because my Weezing is part poison, and because this is a Wall Rain that has Earthquake, I actually do not want to bring this in a straight matchup. Now, because I landed that Earthquake, now I can bring in my Weezing, safely shield this, probably an Earthquake, and then I'm going to be able to go for Brutal Swings here. Icicle Spear is not going to threaten me. I'll just double up on Brutal Swings, let them rip, and then the Charizard is going to have to come in. And not even a Blast Burn is going to KO me here. So I'm going to be able to get plenty of damage off on chip damage with these Brutal Swings. My opponent does get to a Dragon Claw before I expect them to, and unfortunately, I got too greedy on energy, but a Dragon Claw doesn't quite KO. I live to get one of the 2 Brutal Swings off that I had loaded, and that's going to be enough damage for me to not force a shield off the opponent because they're an absolute Chad, and I have to get to 2 Hydro Cannons, and I'm not going to be able to do it because my opponent played this so well with this Charizard that I'm going to be able to get to 1, but I think they're at the Dragon Claw now, so unfortunately this is going to be an L for me. So very well played to my opponent. They did a really good job here in managing their energy and taking the matchups where they had them literally by 1 fast move. It's unfortunate for me, but well played. So getting into, I believe, the last game here, we've got a Cobalion on the lead. This, my friends, is a game. So Cobalion on the lead normally is really good, and it's still really good because I'm going to be able to throw this Overheat before they can get to the Stone Edge. Maggie is stealing things off the shelf that she's not supposed to. I'm going to swap my Swampert in immediately because they let the Overheat go and I could potentially farm them down. But they throw the Stone Edge immediately, which is resistant damage, and they come with a Crest. I'm like, oh, good. So I'm going to CMP tie them at 6. I'm not going to shield this because if it's a Grass Knot, what am I going to do? Oh, excuse me. So I'm going to instead let this go. If they're running Grass Knot, then that means they're probably also running Moonblast, which means my Weezing can safely overload on energy by a ton. Throw Brutal Swings into this thing, and you really like the Fern Gully movie, don't you? Maybe we should go put that on for you, because you keep trying to eat it. Opponent is going to let that through. Okay, you are now putting holes in this, Missy. No, you're putting holes in it. You can't have it. You're putting holes in the movie case. You can't have it. You can come up here, but I'm not giving it back to you. Anyway, probably overloaded on energy again too much. Brutal Swing will take out this Crest after they shield up twice. Now that they've put both shields down on the table, in order to keep the Weezing away from whatever's in the back, I will shield this up. My opponent is going to try to catch here, even though I overfarmed by 1. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I overfarmed by 1 because I was expecting a potential catch. My opponent comes in with a Cobalion. I'm going to come in with my Jellicent to farm down. Figure whatever they've got in the back. They have loaded energy. Whatever they've got in the back is not going to like this too much. So Crest is going to land a Grass Knot. And I'm like, alright, I'm going to be able to get to 3 more. But no, they have even more energy than I thought. So I've once again miscounted. And the Grass... What are you doing? And then they are going to get farmed down here. They've got a Wall Rain in the back. Now, I should be able to just fire my Shadow Balls off. My opponent just swapped out, which means that they are not going to be able to... Well, I mean, they don't have any Pokemon left. It doesn't mean like they can't catch, but even if they had a Pokemon left, they just swapped out and Cobalion to catch, so they won't be able to do it. So, I'm not sure why they wouldn't bring the Wall Rain in here against the Weezing instead, but in any case, I do try to catch that Earthquake on my Weezing, and after the fact, I realized that I did miscount as well there. So I was definitely not in top form for this, but that's going to do it. Strong, strong team again from patron supporter of mine, Lost Heart 85. So once again, dude, shout out and thank you for the team suggestion. Did really good with this team the day that we used it, and I was able to climb some new level before tanking again, before Go Battle Day, before bringing it back on Go Battle Day. And yeah, this is a mess. So anyway, I also got a video last week out with the Jellicent save swap with my Shadow Alola Ninetales. That's the team that I climbed in Go Battle League with today as of recording this. So, yeah, you just go slink on wherever you're going to go. Anyway, if you want to join the Patreon Discord and get access to teams like this before they go live on YouTube, there's a link in the description to Patreon where you can sign up for no more or no less than $5 a month or more if you want to, get more out of it. And, exclusive access to all the teams, meta-analysis, strategies, everything before it goes on YouTube, and even an awesome, unparalleled, probably the best community in the entire Go Battle League sphere. I'll put my money on it. She's smashing toys into the bin again. And then we've also got coaching on Metafy as well. This video is run for 25 minutes. Link in the description for everything. And that's going to do it for us for this week. I'm not going to be doing a video on Little Cup or Master League. I'm going to let the pros handle that stuff. So I will be putting my first foray, or putting my getting my feet wet into the Master League. I finally have some stuff built for it. So looking forward to doing a video on that, hopefully, if I don't get smashed. But anyway, that's going to do it for me for this week, guys. Thank you so much. We're going to catch you in the next videos. Bye-bye.